Good morning. AMCU calls for disinvestment in Sibanye-Stilwater. The Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union, AMCU, is calling to all responsible investors to disinvest from Sibanye-Stilwater. The union likens the mine's approach to that of Margaret Thatcher in the 1980s and exposes the underhanded tactics of C. O'Neill Froneman to further narrow business interests without due regard for the socio-economic welfare of workers and communities. AMCU will spend no resource to stop Froneman planned job bloodbath. We as AMCU, we condemn Neil Froneman, his latest tactic of threatening to retrench mostly AMCU members in terms of Section 189 of the Labour Relations Act. The notice, which was served on AMCU on the 14th February 2019, is clearly nothing but a strategy to target AMCU and its endeavours to enhance the working conditions of black mine workers and communities. When one takes a stock of the true cost of Froneman's failed plans to break AMCU strike up to now, it becomes clear that this war is not about money. Rather, Froneman is using apartheid-style tactics to attack the very core of social justice, namely the campaign for economic emancipation of the working class. The neoliberal approach flies in the face of the spirit of the Mineral and Petroleum Resources MPRDA and the Mining Charter, in that it is using a brute capital power in attempt to crush the mass democratic movement, AMCU. Even worse, it has once again co-opted the state to support its reign of terror, as they did in Marikana massacre. The behavior of Froneman and his fat cat sponsors in a reminiscence of what happened in the United Kingdom during the 80s. It is basically a carbon copy of the principles of the UK government agency, the National Coal Board. Here in South Africa, we call it a Chamber of Mine. This initiative had a three-pronged strategy to break the power of the trade unions during the UK mine workers' strike of 1984 to 1985. The first part was to build up ample stockpile, dividing the workforce by signing secret agreement, as they do with NUM, with the sweetheart unions. And lastly, using expensive litigation and state resources such as police to declare the strike illegally or unprotected. It is clear that the tactics of Froneman and his sponsors are aimed at the very same strategy. Even before the strike started, Sibanye-Stilwater warmed up to the soft approach of sweetheart unions like National Union of Mine Workers and Solidarity and UWASA, which lost thousands of members to AMCU due to their failure to save its members and carry an honest mandate given by their members. NUM has clearly lost its cause that it had before. It is no longer representing the plight of the working class, but rather promoting and protecting the interest of the economic beneficiaries of the apartheid colonialization. It has become crystal clear that the NUM loves their masters like Froneman more than Froneman loves himself. They have joined in eating the fruits of the labor of the black mine workers. Small minority white unions like Solidarity and UWASA have always been a sweetheart union, so the only job was to convince them to side with NUM. This was easy, as their steady lose of white members since the end of apartheid makes them feel the financial pinch in their unions. They are therefore an easy target for soft deals that will prolong their survival in the mining sector. On the very day that the strike started, Froneman allowed NUM to have an illegal gathering at the same time as AMCU held an authorized mass meeting at Kloof to clarify the mandate to our members. After AMCU meeting, members were openly attacked by National Union of Mine Workers, joined by the mine security in their presence. This was clearly followed by an urgent interdict against the strike violence, but when though the interdict was obtained against both AMCU and NUM, Froneman has technically ignored various glaring incidents of violence perpetrated by NUM against AMCU members. AMCU was literally bombarded with letters from Sibanye-Stilwater with flimsy reports of alleged incidents of violence. These letters were backed up by legal correspondence and eventual litigation by no less than 3 highly expensive legal firms in South Africa. AMCU members were threatened and intimidated, and some even paraded before managers and forced to resign from our union, AMCU. Fake membership forms were completed and submitted in an attempt to shift the power away from AMCU. At the same time, Froneman secretly met with the sweetheart unions on the 13th December 2018 and amended the wage agreement so that can ambush AMCU. This was done by creating a false majority status for these yellow unions, thus extending the agreement and rendering AMCU strike unprotected. Fortunately, the wisdom of the Labour Court caught him out, twice exposing the tactics as being under serious doubt that Sibanye-Stilwater was ordered to verify their cooked membership statistics before refused to do a proper verification, necessitating the AMCU to approach the Labour Court for the relief. But this only made Froneman angry enough to unleash the strongest weapon in his arsenal, job bloodbath. Literally hours after being served papers of AMCU application to the Labour Court to declare the extension unlawful, Sibanye-Stilwater rushed to AMCU to deliver a notice to kill almost 6,000 jobs. The killing was carefully directed to AMCU strongholds in the operation where AMCU is dominating, in Free State in particular and West Rand, and mostly aimed at job categories where AMCU members work. AMCU is calling on all responsible shareholders who invest in Sibanye-Stilwater to disinvest immediately and send a clear signal to Froneman that he cannot crush the livelihoods of black mine workers and the communities that feed the mines. He cannot continue with his apartheid-style neo-capitalism of exploiting the majority for the benefit of the minority of the fat cats. We call upon all like-minded workers and people to join AMCU in making all those who benefited from the apartheid to pay back to the majority of the black mine workers. We also call on the civil communities to join all the protests to be staged by AMCU, and we call on all AMCU members to heed our call for the secondary strike as the struggle of economic emancipation intensifies. Froneman must be told in a very harsh way, and he must be told in a harsh lesson that he is determined to continue exploiting mine workers as beneficiary of apartheid, using so-called rented black directors and managers and fooling them into thinking that they are owners of the means of production. In the meantime, AMCU will spend no resources to stop job blood at the gold mines. We will expose Froneman for every unethical move he makes, and we will ensure that black mine workers and communities get their fair share of the economic wealth of our mineral resources in South Africa. The quest for truth and justice shall prevail. Thank you. Any question? Yes, Mr. Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Great, good. Man. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Great.
Mr. Matinjo, I just wanted to ask about, what did you mention? Could you elaborate on the secondary strike, what you planned in terms of that, and any details on what companies it would affect? And since
Froneman has shown his ugly head to the workers, and he couldn't contain his racism against the working class, so he must be treated as such. We don't have passport to leave South Africa. We are not the beneficiaries of apartheid. Neither nor any worker from any sector who belongs to AMCU will appreciate what Froneman is doing. As he declaring the war to the working class, in particular AMCU, we are going to take this war right into his his doorstep. So therefore, we are calling all mines where AMCU is the majority to support our secondary strike. We have started at Impala. We have been given a clear mandate at Impala that yes, they are supporting the secondary strike. Lon Min is ready for Sibanye since he wants to retrench. 13,600 is ready for the secondary strike. So we are traveling to Limpopo now east for the two rivers and all Anglo-American companies where AMCU is the majority. We are going to put this mining sector into standstill. Froneman cannot decide our future. He cannot decide our destiny. Froneman is a beneficiary of an apartheid illegal looting of the wealth of South Africa. He cannot give it to us, this legacy, to take it into our children. Never. Never in our lifetime. We are going to show him that we are the South African. We control these mines. These minerals belong to the people of South Africa. Doesn't belong to the international investors, nor did they belong to the generation of Neil Froneman. No ways. My color, black color, doesn't represent poverty, nor the white color represent wealth and prosperity. And I'm not ashamed to say that.
Just on a follow-up to that, will you be going through CCMA on this, or what form will this?
No, we don't go to CCMA. We just give them a notice, 7 days notice. Then we stop all the shafts.
And when do you plan on starting?
It will be starting. Wait and see. Next week, what will be happening in South Africa. We cannot be apologetic. We cannot ask permission from Froneman to liberate us economically. They steal our wealth from our forefathers. They steal everything from us. And we, the generation of the 21st century, should we go and beg him and kneel before him? What is he? What is he? At the end of the day. Yes, right at the back.
I just wanted clarity to Mr. on the secondary strike, because many people get interested when you mention the secondary strike. When is it?
Who is interested? You mean our members or journalists or media?
South Africans.
Oh, South Africans.
Whose parents are working at the mines.
Oh,
great. Everyone.
Manza.
Everyone gets interested. But when is it starting? Which mines are we talking about here? Can you mention the mines that are going to be going into the strike in solidarity with the one at Sibanye?
So wherever AMCU has members, let's start. We start with Harmony. Harmony Gold. Anglo Gold Ashanti will be affected. All where AMCU has got a recognition agreement, those mines will be joining AMCU. So you coming from West Rand, those mines will be affected by the secondary strike. As I've told you, from Rustenburg, all those mines where AMCU has got a recognition agreement, yes, those mines will be joining, the secondary strike. And the communities are also welcomed because they've been robbed of their wealth by this Neil Froneman. So let these CEOs go and talk to him. And the investors, we are calling them that the responsible investor must disinvest from Sibanye. Or Froneman must be fired. They must choose whether they choose Froneman or they choose their investment. So we cannot be frustrated by the remnants of apartheid. We cannot be. We cannot. I'm the South African, proud as I am, and I'm not apologetic. I want what belongs to us.
Mr. Matundo, it's Pedro from African News Agency. If you can unpack maybe the logic of this call for disinvestment at Sibanye, since Sibanye has already declared that it will report a loss for this financial year of R1 billion at their operations. How now are you going to look after your members if Sibanye is losing money? On the other hand, you are calling for this investment that will collapse the mine altogether. If you can unpack that.
Okay, let's start. Since the discovery of this mineral in this country, have your forefathers benefited from it? The only thing that we receive in this mine is silicosis. We are losing limbs. Go and check at Sibanye, at Kloof mine behind. There is a big old workshop, where all workers who had disability, who are on wheelchairs, are pegged in that cold, old workshop. So, I mean, what are we benefiting? I mean, who benefit in these mines? Froneman is earning 17,000 rand an hour, of which the RDO, the rock drill operator, doesn't earn that amount per month. So, I mean, who benefit in this? 10 million people, South African, are not working, irrespective whether we are a graduate, we are not working. So this economy doesn't work for us. Let's start afresh. Let's start afresh. Let's go back to the drawing board. This economy serves those who are politically connected. That is how it works. Few elite blacks who are captured, who are rented, becoming executive in each and every company. And then you are saying those little dot of blacks in that hierarchy, are they representing my stomach? No ways. They are representing their families.
If I get you correctly, are you calling for the collapse of the industry and restructuring?
Whichever you interpret, but what I'm saying, the economic emancipation of the workers cannot be postponed. That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Whether it takes that the industry must collapse and start afresh, let be so. This industry, whom are they serving? Huh? I'm not benefiting out of it. Neither the workers are not benefiting from this industry. If a one man out of minerals is earning 17,000 an hour, come on, my brother, my African brother, come on, is it fair? And the worker who is a rock drill operator 4 kilometers under the belly of the earth is earning 7,800 a month. Froneman, his pension is 1.1 million per year. The least executive pension contribution per year is 200,000, of which the RTO, the rock drill operator, doesn't earn such amount per annum. Is earning less than 120,000 per annum. What do you call this? 10 executives are looting 151 million. 10 lily white executives in the expense of the black majority workers, and we must fold our hands and take legacy to our children. Never it stop with us, whatever it takes. It's not about job losses. We've got an economy that does not create jobs. We've got the economy that does not create demands. That's a problem that we have. On the 28th of March 2018, we marched to the Union Building. 4 corners of the 4 provinces we marched. And we delivered a memorandum to saying, let's have a quota system to say 60% of the mineral should be exported and 40% of the mineral must remain in the country to start industrialization and beneficiation. That is what we call, of which they haven't even responded. We're exporting jobs every day in this country. We're becoming a consuming nation. The education that is fed to our children, they cannot make them economic viable. Huh? You spend 4 years, our children spend 4 years, 5 years in a university, but they cannot be employed because of the education that they are feeding them. They have to change the system of education. Next question. Thank you. CNBC.
Good morning, Mr. Matula. Good morning, everyone. I just want to find out what happened to your interactions with the Minerals Council, because the last time you went to deliver a memorandum, what came out of that? And secondly, are you by any chance in conversation with the Mines Minister, Gwede Mantashe, with regards to this 3-month-long strike? And number 3, Neil Froneman said in Cape Town to my colleague Vivi Peters that he's willing to negotiate with workers. Are you negotiating with Neil Froneman, or we're still on a deadlock when it comes to negotiations with Sibanye?
Right. The last question. Froneman, I met him in Cape Town after my interview with yourselves in CNBC in Cape Town, mining in that. I met with him, of which he was not prepared to meet with AMCU. And he said he's not prepared to open the agreement that he signed with his yellow unions. And then we said, but that agreement belongs to the minority union. Hence, we are the minority. I'm the minority union at your mind. So let's conclude our agreement. Then he promised that he will set up a team on the 10th, of which we set our team. They met. What they came up for from Friday until Saturday, they came up with a loan to say, we can loan workers a 1-month salary payable in 12 months. Really? Can you go and to strike just to get a loan? No. Doesn't need a strike to go and, to get a loan. You can apply a loan while we are still working. Huh? So there is no need for a strike. That's an attitude of Froneman. So there is nothing coming forth. Now, last night, before I go to the second question, I was at Impala addressing the issue of the secondary strike. I want to prove to you that NUM is a yellow union. They betrayed the working class. They claim that whatever agreement they sign, they get a mandate. Last night, Spoons signed another extension agreement with Froneman. Where did he get the mandate? Where did he get the mandate last night? Because I finished the meeting 6:45 at Impala. By that time, after that meeting, they sent to our office an new extension agreement signed by Spoonsy. When did they call a mass meeting with their members to get a new mandate? Where do they get it? We are 10 years, Salom Shegas.
What was the extension?
Extension of the very same extension of the agreement of the minority unions. So he's not prepared. He just wants to continue the way. He used the very same NUM. Hence, we are calling that if we are still a member of NUM in the mining sector, you better change. You better move. You don't have a union. You've got a bunch of sellout. Then what was your next question? DMR, Guademontage. Guademontage is not prepared to come closer to AMCU. He's not prepared. He ran to Gloria, but he never been to Lilimai. 3 workers are still trapped underground. He never even questioned and asked about how to get to Lilimai. But he went to Gloria, where the illegal miners were. Why goes to Gloria? Because the constituents of NUM. It's simple. It's simple. We can see clearly his modus operandi. I requested him several times for his intervention, but he ignored us. He go to Kolobeni to confuse communities there. Now he's busy in Western Cape with the extension of that company from Australia. What interest does he have in this? Why doesn't he come here? And I don't think it will be easy for AMCU at Sibanye, since the former General Secretary of NUM is in an executive position of the advisory board of Sibanye, Franz Balin. So then, what can you expect? If the Minister of Minerals didn't raise a finger to Froneman after he kills 23 breadwinners, at Kloof more than what, 6? 6 breadwinners. Or 7, of which they were forced to work under unsafe conditions. No manager was disciplined. Instead, they moved the manager from Kloof to Driefontein. But the minister said nothing. But he's the custodian of the minerals that is used by Froneman to exploit the majority of the black mine workers. So should we fold our hands and wait for this government, of which is not our government? It's a government of a neoliberal. It's not ours. If it's our government, will be caring for us. We wouldn't allow Froneman to go this far without having a word with him. We are not saying government must negotiate on behalf of AMCU, but they are the custodian of these minerals. If our minerals are being used by monopoly capital to exploit the people who put you into power, then can we call this our government? It's not our government. This is the government of the business. Our government is still going to be born. It's still coming. Mineral Council of South Africa, they said, we cannot tell Sibanye what to do. They are independent. But we said, they affiliate to you. He said, yes, we try to speak sense to Froneman. He said, no, He is independent.
And the verification process, what happened there?
Verification process is still continuing. We're still waiting for a date at appeal court. That's why Sibanye is trying to bypass it by putting another extension with Spunzi of NUM.
I may have missed your response maybe to the job losses that Sibanye had actually warned about. But what is AMCU's response to that? Are we still going to continue with the strike here regardless of the threat of 6,000 jobs on the line?
We've got nowhere to go. We have to. You know, there is nothing more tragic than to live this revolution now. There is nothing more and worse than living this revolution now. We cannot. We must see it through, because we'll go down with them.
Workers would have lost jobs.
10 million South Africans are not working. Graduate, they've never seen any door of employment. How many people are sitting outside without a food in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening? No shelter, nothing. We are at work. We are at work. We are fighting for those that will come after us, not to experience these things that we are experiencing. We are transforming the industry. If you are saying 6,000 compared to 10 millions, that goes to bed without food in a democratic country, rich with minerals, but we cannot feed our own people. Yes, Paul.
One more follow-up. Just, it looked as though you had a mass meeting recently at Impala. Was it yesterday?
Yes, yesterday.
Have you discussed the secondary strike with members at this point, and what's been the response, if you have?
They are ready. They are ready. They are just waiting for me just to say, go. Lon Min is ready. They are just waiting.
It is likely that Sibanye will interdict the secondary strike. What is it that you anticipate in that regard? Are you planning anything?
I don't know which law they will be using, but we'll meet them at Labour Court as we normally meet them. We beat them twice. They are paying our cost. So tomorrow we are going for another one. We are challenging now them. Tomorrow we are at court. Tomorrow, come to Labour Court and hear another argument in law. We are not going to leave this monopoly capital to do as they please. No ways. No ways. They frustrated our forefathers and our fathers, and we're still going to continue. No. Come on. We are liberated here. We are liberated here. Not in the stomach. Yeah. We are liberated. We know what we want.
And another thing, Mr. Matuja, I would like to understand maybe the living conditions currently of the workers who are on strike, because when the strike started, it was characterized by violence, extreme violence in the mines where AMCU operates. And now it's been 3 months, workers have not been paid, and in Bangula, I can understand now the violence has died down, but is it likely...
Caused by whom, this violence?
I don't know.
Okay, good.
Is it likely maybe that we would see the escalation of violence again because members are getting frustrated even more?
When people in the township go for protest, what caused that protest? Frustration. So, we are not being in violence in any form. The problem that some of media houses are very lazy. They are taking a certain angle of reporting. Let me update you. South Deep, there is no AMCU there. It's only NUM. They started violence against their own regional office bearers. They stabbed their own regional office bearers. They banned the offices at South Deep. They banned the cars at South Deep. NUM suspended some of their leadership. Where do they stay? Where do they reside? Where is their residential? Is not play bank? Why don't you just take a step, one step forward to say, it could be NUM retaliating against its own union. But why you media don't come to understand such? Why always AMCU is associated with violence? On the 21st, after the meeting at Kloof, the strike hasn't started, but NUM shot our members, stabbed them with spear, media was quiet. Huh? In the presence of the security of Sibanye, with all the cameras that they had, no one was arrested. Huh? So who started violence? Who started violence? How many of our members we buried in Lesotho? Killed by the SAPS in Free State? Killed by the G4S? The security of the mine? Nothing happened. No media is talking about it. And where are we picketing? Do we picket in Playbank? Or we picket, at the mountain? Have you ever heard of any violence where we are picketing? Nothing. Why AMCU always is associated with violence? Why? And NUM is not associated with violence. That's a narrative that you choose to follow.
Maybe just to follow up from my question, if you are this passionate, probably your followers will be quite passionate. Can you assure us from your part there will be no violence of any kind, or you have made efforts to address your followers on the methods of getting attention without escalating?
AMCU has never escalated. We don't have a boardroom or a war room where we manufacture violence. We don't have. The violence is manufactured by Froneman. That question, you must take it straight to the doorstep of Froneman. To say, Froneman, even before AMCU started the strike, you've unleashed the tactics of violence to break AMCU. Go and ask him.
No, but from your side.
Yes, we don't have violence. In our picketing area, have you seen any violence? Have you seen any people being injured where we are picketing? We are condemning all form and shape of violence because it doesn't benefit our cause as a working class. We condemn it. We condemn it. If there is any violence in any space, the law enforcement must take its course. It's simple as that. We never went on strike just because we want violence. The violence is unleashed by monopoly capital. Froneman. Actual Froneman is supposed to be in jail by now. That is where he belongs. He killed 23 breadwinners. Huh? Because of shortcut in health and safety. That's why AMCU was campaigning to amend Mine Health and Safety Act. And those things hasn't happened. Why? Yes.
Mr. President, I've got a question on the second extension of the agreement. What does it mean? I know that you're not a legal expert, but what does it mean when there is the first extension and the second extension, and whereby the verification is still has to be, the decision has to be taken by the court how to verify this process? What these two extensions, what does it mean legally, and what does it mean to the union itself?
No, it doesn't mean anything to us, rather than showing the underhanded tactics and exposes National Union of Mine Workers that they are in the pockets of the monopoly capital. That's the only thing. It exposes NUM that its members, they don't have a union. They just have to leave NUM. How can you be in the pocket of the employer? How do you go and sign a second extension knowingly that you are the minority? On the extension, on the agreement, that doesn't bring economic emancipation into your members. You are signing an extension to protect 17,000 rand of Froneman per hour. Huh? 64 million per annum. Huh? NUM is captured. So we'll respond to them accordingly. We'll respond to them accordingly today.
In what?
In any forum, where the relevant forum. Thank you.
Just the last one, Mr. Machinga, to conclude the job losses issue. So what will AMCU do to avoid the loss of those jobs, of those 6,000 jobs?
Remember, AMCU is not a government. AMCU is not a government. Maybe you you mix the two. It is the responsibility of the government. It is the responsibility of the government.
You just said that the Minister of Mineral Resources is not really...
Mantashe is not a government himself. The president of the country must look to it, how he makes the economic run, how to change the economic policies. As I've said, we've got an economy that is exporting jobs. The strike, there is no scientific research or paper that came out that the strike caused the job losses. No ways. No, there is no such. I've never seen that paper. The job losses is the greed of the monopoly capital of Froneman, earning 17,000 an hour. 10 executive looting 151 million. So if you can just retrench Froneman must be retrenched. We can save 676 jobs by retrenching only Froneman. Just only Froneman. Can you imagine if we take half salary of this 9 executive, how many jobs can we save? If you pay your VP Temba Nkosi 3.5 million per annum, he doesn't even know where the panel is. What for? The HR, what for? Those are the rented stooges. That they suffocate the prosperity of the black mine worker. That money is supposed to be paid. The people who are in the face, they are paying these black rented blacks, managers.
But Mr. Machinja, the point of the matter here is that mine workers, who others belong to your union that work for Sibanye, at this point now, are at the verge of losing their jobs. What are you as a union that represent those workers doing to avoid that black work?
Let me assist you, journalist. Is the only country, South Africa, that has a law to retrench. Is the only country, no other country. So it's not about Matunjwa. It's about your Labor Relations Act that puts the benefit. The profit before the people. So irrespective of whatsoever, whether they make a hyper profit and what, if they just want to retrench, they will retrench because it's lawful. It's not us. It's the only country in the world that have a law to retrench workers if you don't make your profit. So why should you blame to us? Why do you blame to us? Blame those who make laws. Surely now I've educated you when it comes to that one. It's the only, you go to the Scandinavian country again. Those are the countries that bargaining is a force. You must bargain. But in South Africa, there is no law to say you must bargain with the workers. But in the Scandinavian country, you must bargain. What a contradiction.
We'll continue that conversation on our one-on-one.
Anytime. I'm ready for you. Yes, my brother.
Mr. President, you think that Sibanye is on an onslaught to attack AMCU as a union, or they are trying to preserve their gold side of the business? Because you said earlier they are targeting the shaft where AMCU is a majority, and that the strike has gone for 3 months, and what this, for a lack of a better word, maybe they are grandstanding, or the union is grandstanding. When is this the war against AMCU, or is this the war of saving the mining sector, as they are saying in the media?
No, they are not saving. Froneman doesn't plead poverty. Let's start there. Sibanye-Stilwater does not plead poverty. No, they're not pleading. If Sibanye in 4 weeks can spend 750 million on private security to break our strike, we only want 339 million for how many years? For 3 years. The difference that we want is 339 million. The difference which put us on strike is 339 million. So Sibanye has spent 750 million on security to break armed strike. The issue here, how to destroy a militant union called AMCU. So Froneman is a proxy of other forces. That's it. It's simple as that. We are alone here. But we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We reshape our thinking. We Go back to the original, how God created, to think independently, and we shall overcome. It cannot, we cannot take this apartheid legacy to the next generation. Never. Never. We are not going to be exploited with our own minerals. No ways. From a man from his house to West Rand is using a helicopter to work. How much is that? People are talking about state capture. There is a Judge Zondo commissioned about Busasa, the cameras, and all those kind of stuff of the ministers, the chicken, whatever stuff that delivered to the ministers. I call to the state president to call a proper commission of inquiry about the mining houses capturing the state. That is where the problem is. Not this thing of Busasa. I'm not saying I'm condoning it, but I'm saying the elephant is in the room. These mining houses, they are the one. Then you'll hear the stories there. You'll hear the stories. So that is where we should channel the commission.
Companies that use a lot of manpower have a tendency to accelerate automation whenever there are challenges and strikes and everything. How is the strategy to deal with that? Are you confident that these mines will not accelerate automation to get rid of workers?
Yeah, they are talking about the fourth industrial revolution. They talk about technology. We cannot stop. We cannot stop technology. No, you cannot. But how is it introduced? The transition. That's why I talk about education. Where are those equipment going to be manufactured? That is what is important. When we talk about industrialization and beneficiation, we counter the very same question that we are talking about. So if we continue exporting minerals without creating industries, without beneficiating, then we'll have job losses. We have to train people. We have to train workers, equip them with new skills. I mean, we are talking about independent power supply today. Where are all this equipment going to be manufactured? In China? Where? In France? All over Europe, Asia. And what will happen to South Africa? Nothing. But these minerals are coming from this country. How many tons of chrome are you exporting from Limpopo to China? And come back and you buy it? How many? So it's a self-inflicted problem that we have in South Africa because of these trade deals that they are signing. They have to change their trade deals that they are signing. Trade agreements are the ones that are exporting the jobs in South Africa. Why do you go and buy a train from Brazil or from China? Why? Why don't you manufacture here? You can get those skills. During apartheid, where the apartheid government built their train, did they import it from China? Was built in China, was built here in Niger. Why don't you continue? Come with industrialization. We've got all the minerals that we need for industrialization. So therefore, it is proper for us. It is proper for us that our government must take a look at themselves, must put South African first. That is where we should go. The education system must speak to the minerals of this country. The students in Europe, they are studying how to beneficiate the minerals from Africa. Our university, what our children are studying, our brothers and sisters, they are studying how to extract minerals. After they extract minerals, they don't know how to do, how to beneficiate minerals. Those are the kind of things that need leaders that have leadership at the end of the day. The leaders that have a vision with their country. Leaders that have no vision with their country, they are not threat to monopoly capital. They are not a threat. The threat are the leaders who has a vision for their people. That is where the problem starts. All the visionary leaders, they were buried, they were killed, they were assassinated because they scared of them.
So forward, Mr. Matunga, tomorrow there's a labor court matter. Is there a mass meeting later in the week or maybe next week? What are the steps we can expect before?
The strike is still on in all our picketing areas. We're still there. We're still there. We are calling upon all NGOs to join this, churches, as we did in the apartheid. Churches, communities, NGO were together. This strike is not about AMCU. This is about the black dignity. It's about the dignity of workers, of the communities. It's not about AMCU. Don't look it in the narrow way. Look at it bigger, as a bigger picture, to say this strike is telling the community, is telling the South African that this has to stop. We need to continue moving in the right direction. The direction that we find ourselves in is not the right direction. It doesn't take people of South Africa forward. What good it is to be oppressed under a democratic flag? We've got a democratic flag, but the monopoly capital doesn't respect it. So what's the use of it at the end of the day? Should we fold our hands and say everything is fine? It's not about how will happen to me. The question should be, what will happen to the millions of South Africans if we keep quiet? That's a question. It's not about Matunjwa. It's about us, all of us, who are oppressed, who are not benefiting anything from these minerals. So if we keep quiet, who will talk? Who will talk? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mandla. Qina member AMCU qina. Mawubuye umnotho weAfrika mawubuye. Malibuye izwe lethu malibuye. Phansi ngongqo phansi. Thank you very much.
Yeah,